Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah. I want to welcome you to Healthy Marriage Tips, where today we are continuing our series on dealing with trauma bonds. In fact, today I'm going to be talking about breaking trauma bond patterns, part 2. Excuse me. Okay, if you were with me yesterday, I talked about the importance of separating the past from the present, because many times those traumas from the past essentially bleed over, and the messages from them continue into the present day. I'm going to assume that you've already done that, and it's going to take practice to get that down. And today I'm going to be talking about the interventions of countering and testing. These are two things that you can start doing to change some of those patterns in your head. Because what happens, a lot of times we get those negative messages. Somebody says we're fat, we're ugly, or whatever. And because of some of the earlier traumas in our life, it resonates. It vibrates on the same frequency, for lack of a better term. And the more that is allowed to continue to rattle around in your head and in your heart, the more damage it does, the stronger the network working against you becomes. And because of that, it's going to be important to counter and test these things. Okay, testing is probably the next logical one. Because many times with the negative messages, there's general statements you make about yourself in a negative way, where you will think things like, everyone thinks I'm ugly, everyone thinks I'm fat, everyone thinks I'm whatever. Now, that works against you, especially when you allow that to continue. So what you need to start doing is testing it. If that's going on in your self-talk, if there's one person, rather than discounting what they have to say, if there's one person that thinks that you're not fat, one person that thinks that you're not ugly, you're going to have to choose to believe them and can't start canceling out the negative self-messages, because with that one person, it disproves the statement that everyone views you that way. And you're going to have to start, this starts breaking the power that those messages have had over you. Now, countering, this is what happens because many times the negative messages go on in our head, either through our own negative self-talk, or your spouse is gaslighting you, saying all sorts of negative things. And you're going to have to counter it. I encourage you to start doing it verbally, out loud, and then later on you can shift to where you can do it mentally. But you're going to have to, when those negative things come up, you're going to have to counter it with stuff like, that's no longer true, that's not me anymore, I don't accept that. Because it comes up, you've got to counter it. Comes up, you've got to counter it. Otherwise, when it is not answered or countered, it continues to spread on into your head and on into your emotions to spread the effects of the trauma bond. This is one reason why I say, you got to cut the past off from the present. And like cutting the water off, now that that's done, you can start doing these interventions to literally disrupt the patterns in your head that have been feeding into the trauma bonds. And so the two today of countering and testing are a way to start. It's not totally going to shift all the thinking right away, but it's a way to start disrupting that pattern. And when you start disrupting it, it weakens it, and it makes it to where it can be changed. And that's what I want. I want you to be able to change them, to take off in a direction of healthy thinking about yourself, about your marriage, to where these things no longer cripple you, cripple your marriage. You need to move past that. So, if you have any questions, concerns, feel free to leave them below. I'll be glad to get to them. And until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you best regards. Goodbye.